Stephanie Dobson is back with us this week for another episode of Healthy Thriving Family After Divorce. Stephanie is a lawyer, mediator, and online educator with Hankett Divorce Law and Mediation, offices in Lloydminster and Edmonton. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks again, Stacey.
Well, Stephanie, today we're going to be talking about the best interests of children when it comes to divorce and separation. So, can you give us a little bit more context of what we're going to get into discussion wise today?
Sure. Best interest of the children is, of course, a term of art that goes around a lot in the separation and divorce world. But when we talk about best interest of the kids, of course, this is, or at least it ought to be, at the forefront of all conversations about divorce settlement as well as court resolved matters. But in the options, the process options that I offer to clients, which is collaborative divorce and mediation, it's at the forefront, of course, of all of our settlement discussions. So in these out-of-court options, parents can very much more easily prioritize their children's best interest and keep that at the forefront. So today we're going to talk about strategies for doing just that.
All right, well, let's start with that. So, the first strategy, Stephanie, is maintaining open communication. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it's really important to encourage open and honest communication between parents to ensure that decisions are made with the children's well-being in mind. So keeping the lines of communication open, respectful, and child-focused. And of course, this open communication also applies between parents and children.
Okay, and number two is to focus on co-parenting, which is a lot of what we discuss, but tell me about the strategy in this case.
So we want to emphasize the importance of co-parenting and working together as a team to support the children. So really thinking about it like co-CEOs of a company, and developing a co-parenting plan, which is something that we've talked about in lots of episodes, that parenting plan that outlines responsibilities, schedules, and decision-making processes that really will help you to, it's kind of like the rule book in a board game, where you really want to set that out in advance so that you can make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible while you're co-parenting.
Okay, and the next one is to put children first, which I guess should be something that we do anyways, but let's chat a little bit further about that.
Yes, of course, we want to make a conscious effort to prioritize the children's needs and feelings about personal conflicts or grievances. There's a book that's out there and a saying that's out there that you want to love your children more than you hate the other party or more than you hate your ex. And really keeping their emotional and physical well-being at the forefront of decision making is so important. There's so much stuff that's going on in their world as things are coming up that if we can really keep the children at the forefront, then it will really make a big difference to
Okay,
them.
and carrying on with that, Stephanie, supporting children's emotional needs is the next one, which you touched on a little bit, but let's expand a bit.
Yeah, so we need to acknowledge and address the emotional impacts of divorce on children. It is a huge change for them. And of course, they have no control over, or very little control over kind of how their future, short, medium, or long-term future really plays out. And so it's so important to support them as they're going through their own stuff. I mean, the parents are going through, of course, their own issues on the spousal side, but the kids are also going through that. So providing them with reassurance, stability, and opportunity to express their feelings in a really safe and supportive environment is so important.
Okay, and the next one is maintaining consistency. Why is that a big deal?
So we want to strive to maintain consistency in things like routines, rules, and expectations for the kids, both during and after the divorce. Consistent parenting can, of course, provide stability and security during those times of transition. So we are talking about their worlds being upended, and we really want to create that stability for them. So, the catchphrases are stability, consistency, and routine, and that really is what paves the way to children feeling like they're on firm ground throughout these tumultuous times.
Okay, and strategy number six, Stephanie, is to encourage healthy relationships. So let's chat about that.
Well, of course, that should go without saying, but let's say it anyway, right? Supporting and encouraging positive relationships between the children and each of the parents is so key. It sounds like it goes without saying, but this is the kind of thing that really is a pitfall in a lot of relationship breakdowns. We want to avoid speaking negatively about the other parent in front of the children, or even with within earshot of the children. It's amazing what they can hear when you think they can't hear you, but they can. We want to really promote that healthy co-parenting dynamic.
Okay, and the next one, Stephanie, involve children in decision making. Why should we be doing that?
So that's a really difficult one because, of course, we want to make it age appropriate. So, depending on their age and maturity level, we want to involve children in age appropriate discussions that affect them. So, we want to give the children a voice, not a choice necessarily, is kind of the catchphrase. So, we want to listen to their input and consider their preferences when it's possible and when it's age appropriate.
Okay, Stephanie. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate those tips today, and we'll chat with you again next week.
Thanks, Stacey.